welcome the Astros to the ballpark tonight. With the momentum of a nice win, the Rangers hope to get hot against the struggling Houston club. Nick Tepesch gets the series opening start as your Rangers and the Astros meet next on Friday Night Baseball. Break for some springtime weather, summer has reappeared at Rangers Ballpark in Arlington. A warm and windy night as the battle for the silver boot recommences with the Rangers taking on the Houston Astros. And welcome in, everyone, welcome to a Friday night of Ranger Baseball with Tom Grieve. I'm Steve Busby. Glad you could join us. And Tom, so far, going back the last couple of years, this has been rather a one-sided affair, Rangers and Astros, but got to be careful with this Astro team. They can get some things done.
Yeah, Buzz, and you know as well as I do, the one thing you never want to do in the game of baseball is take any team for granted, because over 162 games, anything can happen. The Astros haven't played good baseball up to this point. The Rangers have played very well against them. After losing the opener, they've won 5 straight. They've hit 100 points higher. They've scored a couple of more runs per game. Hot hitters for the Rangers, Lance Berkman early in the season. Nelly Cruz has stayed hot the entire season. You go back to the last 23 games, the Rangers have won 19 of those games. So they played great against the Astros, but put those behind you. These are the 3 games coming up. You got to play good baseball to beat anybody.
You're right about that. And Nick Tepesch has his hands full tonight with the Houston Ball Club. It was the last one that Nick Tepesch got a W against. He'll try to back that up with another strong performance here tonight. It's Friday Night Baseball on TXA 21. Rangers and Astros coming up next. is sponsored by your Texas Ford dealer. Visit your Texas Ford dealer and drive the best-selling trucks for 36 straight years. Ford is the best in Texas. By AT&T UVerse TV. And by TXU Energy. The right things right now. 1-866-CALL TXU. A warm night, temperature in the low 90s as the Rangers take the field. Nick Tepish going out to see if he can break a long winless streak. It has been 7 starts for the right-hander since he has posted a W. And he'll be facing the Houston team against whom he got his last win, but that was way back in early May. And Bo Porter, with his club struggling a bit of late, here's the lineup that they will send out to take on Nick Tepish. Jose Altuve leads off. Brett Wallace is the first baseman. Jason Castro catches. Chris Carter is playing left field, batting cleanup. The DH is Carlos Pena. J.D. Martinez in right field. Brandon Barnes is in center, batting 7th. Hitting 8th, the third baseman, Matt Dominguez. And Ronnie Cedeno is the shortstop, and he bats 9th.
On the mound for the Rangers, Nick Tepish. He's 3-6. He's had 15 starts this year. The start you're talking about, Buzz, was May 12th in Houston. He pitched 6 innings in that game, 4 hits, only 1 run, and struck out 8. First time through the lineup, opponents only hit 161. It goes up to 255 the second time, and then the third time it's over 400. Generally, Nick gets off to a good start. What he's going to have to do is figure out a way to pitch the same way innings 4, 5, 6, and 7, because he's just about untouchable the first time through the lineup.
Well, the 24-year-old right-hander out for the start tonight. Here's the Ranger defense that will back him up. David Murphy is in left. Leonis Martin in center. Nelly Cruz is in right. Moreland at first. Kinsler and Andrews up the middle. Beltray in third. A.J. Brzezinski handling Nick Tepish. Out of the University of Missouri and Blue Springs, Missouri. Umpiring crew tonight, Jim Joyce calling the balls and strikes. He is the crew chief. Corey Blazer at first, Jeff Nelson at second, Ed Hickox down at third. Well, the Rangers facing the Astros. Texas coming in having won 3 of the first 6 games on this 9-game homestand. Won 2 out of 3 against Cincinnati, and had to scramble to win last night against Seattle to salvage the final game of that 3-game set. Well, the Astros in for 3 over the weekend, and here's Jose Altuve, their all-star second baseman. Leading off, hitting at 285. Tepish for the first pitch. And it's on the outside corner for strike 1. Altuve, 3 home runs, 27 driven in. And you're going to see numbers in the last 5 games for almost all of the Astros that look similar to that. They just have completely gone dormant offensively. It's fouled back, and it's 0-2. In fact, they just finished a 9-game homestand down at Minute Maid, and looking at the statistics for Bo Porter's club, they only had a couple of guys hitting 200 for the homestand. Everybody else was below 200. It's not going to get a whole lot done against the American League clubs. That pitch is way outside. It's a ball and 2 strikes. 94 degrees at game time. Brisk southeast wind coming in from center field. See the offensive ranks, and for the Astros, not good. Not good. There's a base hit to center field off the bat of Altuve. Well, Nick Tepish hung him a breaking ball, and Altuve said thank you. Gets a leadoff single.
Yeah, your batting average goes up dramatically when you see that pitch. That was the hanging slider, trying to throw it down and away, and right down the middle of the plate.
Well, the first man is aboard, and now Brett Wallace, the first baseman, will step in. Wallace hitting just 173 for the year. 3 home runs, 9 driven in. He was one of those Astros, though, that had a little bit better homestand than most. Pitch outside to him for ball 1. Wallace hit 286 for the 9 games that the Astros just finished playing in Houston. Last 3 ball games, you see, he's been a 500 hitter. Altuve with good speed has 18 stolen bases this year. That ties him for 7th in the American League. And Tepish will go to work on the diminutive second baseman. Coach over there at first base, Dave Clark, giving some instructions to Altuve about the move and what to look for from Tepesch. 1-0 the count. Backdoor breaking ball, and that evens things to Wallace.
Well, Nick has been very tough on right-hand hitters. They hit .205 against him. That's the 7th lowest average against right-hand hitters. While left-hand hitters have hit .314 against him and hit 9 of the 11 home runs that he's given up.
Altuve a pretty good lead. He's leading. There he goes. The pitch is swung on and missed. And Brzezinski can't find the handle. Altuve in with the stolen base, his 19th of the year. And the count to Wallace goes to a ball and 2 strikes.
Altuve stole 33 bases last year, and he's on pace to have somewhere around that this year.
The 1-2 is Tepesch checks Altuve. Breaking ball in the dirt. And there will be no appeal on the check swing. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes. Nick Tepesch, you want to try and prevent Wallace from pulling the ball to the right side. Throwing something hard away from him, maybe a backdoor breaking ball if you wanted to go with the off-speed stuff, but try and make it tough for him to roll over on it. Right there.
Good try.
Oh, my goodness.
Almost got it. He was listening to you, Buzz. That's exactly what he tried to do. Didn't quite get it there.
Not quite. Not quite. So it's 3-2. Tepesch set. And the payoff pitch. Foul back. Altuve at second with nobody out. Brett Wallace is at the plate. Jason Castro, the number 3 hitter, waiting in that on-deck circle. Just underway at Rangers Ballpark in Arlington. The first of 3 over this weekend. Astros come into the game in 5th place in the American League West. 19 games behind the front-running A's. Again, the 3-2, and that's chopped foul. And we will try it again. Wallace being pretty much of a pest at home plate right now.
A couple of breaking balls on 3-2. He's been able to foul a couple of them off.
Eighth pitch of the at-bat will be served up next to Wallace.
Got away with that last slider. It was right near the center of the plate, but Wallace was way out in front of it.
Got him swinging. Pulled the string even more. Got the strikeout of Wallace. That is out number 1.
Threw the curveball that time, and instead of being a little bit flatter like a slider tends to be, this one comes in and just drops straight down, and Wallace swings over the top of it.
Well, 1 away. Nice job by Brzezinski and Tepesch to get that strikeout. Prevent Altuve from advancing. Jason Castro, the catcher, steps in hitting at .262. Castro with 11 home runs and 27 RBI. Got him on the fist, and Kinsler goes to the backhand, throws across his body, gets Castro. On to third goes Altuve, but that is out number 2, and it will bring up Chris Carter. Good pitch by Nick Tepesch.
Tepesch can get out of the inning if he can get Chris Carter. Carter is obviously a home run threat. He's hit 17 home runs. You know, is also a little prone to the strikeout, not hitting for a high average. But he is one guy in their lineup that you don't want to hang a slider to, make a mistake on. He's got excellent power. I read a stat on him in the notes today. He sees more sliders as a percentage of the pitches thrown to him than any hitter in baseball. So that's probably the plan to get him out.
There's a good fastball down and away. And I think you're doing him a favor. I think Chris Carter has a slider speed bat.
Yeah, you just don't want to hang one.
No,
for sure.
No, and I think you're doing him a favor throwing so many sliders. because I don't think he can hit a good fastball. And I'm talking about anything 93 and above.
There's two at 93, especially when you keep it down there.
Yeah, that's a good spot to anybody. 0-2, the count to Carter.
That's thrown it exactly where you wanted to with your best fastball, 2 in a row.
Look at the strikeout leaders. Came back with the same pitch in the same spot. I like that. Carter able to foul it off, but it was a very defensive swing. Oh and 2. Yepes trying to work around the leadoff single and stolen base by Altuve. Just missed inside. It has been nothing but fastballs to Carter on this at bat. And Tepish has had pretty pinpoint control. You see the cluster of pitches going away and then coming back in. Now the 1-2 pitch. Well, he jammed him, but good.
Definitely pounded him with fastballs, keeping the ball down to him. All of the pitches, 4 or 5 pitches to him, have been pretty much in the same location. Not all inside or outside, but all right at the bottom of the strike zone.
A 1-2 again. Tepish to the plate. Got him swinging. That's a little cutter it looked like, and Carter is gone on strikes. A pair of punch outs in the inning, no runs to hit, and 1 left. After a half inning of play, Astros nothing. Rangers coming up. First baseline, the Rangers CEO Nolan Ryan and his son Reed, the Astros president. Rangers batting order looks like this tonight. Ian Kinsler leads off. David Murphy is in left. Nelly Cruz is in right. Adrian Beltre is the cleanup man. A.J. Brzezinski is catching. Lance Berkman is the DH hitting 6. Mitch Moreland at first. Elvis Andrus the shortstop. And batting ninth the center fielder Leonis Martin.
On the mound for the Astros, Lucas Harrell. 5-8, a 4.59 ERA. In his last 6 starts, he's pitched very well. 3.22 has been his ERA. Prior to that, he struggled a little bit. A few too many walks this year. He's tied for 3rd most in the American League with 47 walks. But on any given night, he can tune up a very good game. He was 11-11 with a 3.76 ERA last year for the Astros. A real solid season for him.
Kinsler takes the pitch outside. It's 1-1. Ian at 281 for the year. You saw the numbers against Harrell at 2 for 9. Good numbers against Houston for Kinsler as he looks at strike 2 on the outside corner.
Harrell's had some bad starts for the Astros, but 10 of his 18 starts have been starts where he gave up 2 earned runs or less. So over half the time, he's been very stingy with runs allowed.
A supreme ground ball pitcher. He is among the top 7 in ground ball percentage in all of baseball. Just a little over 2 ground balls per every fly ball. 2-2 the count. And Kinsler fouls it back. Harrell really has pitched pretty well against the Rangers in the past. This is his 4th start in his career. Had one other start this year. That was the 2nd game of the season. Pitched very effectively in 6 innings, only allowed 1 run. Last year, a couple of starts. As Ian takes the pitch low, and it's a full count now. So Kinsler trying to get aboard to start the Ranger first. He'll be followed by the left fielder, David Murphy. Harrell to the line. The right-hander comes back to the plate. Outside, ball 4. Well, Ian Kinsler getting aboard to start things off. Take a look at the Astros defense tonight, backing up Lucas Harrell. Carter, Barnes, and Martinez left, center, and right. Wallace at first. Altuve and Cedeno up the middle. Dominguez at third. And Jason Castro behind the plate, handling the 28-year-old right-hander Lucas Harrell. Well, here's Murph hitting in the 2nd spot again. 2nd straight night that he's done that. And the first pitch is low. That sinker down below the knees. It is 1-0. Murphy, like his predecessor in the lineup, Ian Kinsler, 2 for 9 against Harrell. Harrell, property of the White Sox until 2011. They released him, and kind of out of nowhere, the Astros brought him in. Ball 2. Kind of a strange deal with the White Sox. Harrell made the club out of spring training, and all of a sudden they decided he couldn't pitch for him and just cut him loose.
Well, 1 year later, he went 11-11 in 193 innings. Pitched pretty well for the Astros,
Yeah.
so I guess he got the last laugh on that one. All he needed was an opportunity. Apparently wasn't going to get one in Chicago, but he's gotten a nice opportunity here in Houston.
2-0 the count to Murphy. And he drives one to deep right center field. Up the alley and gone. Goodbye, David Murphy. Line drive, home run for Murphy. The Rangers lead 2-0.
They've been saying it all year long. Sooner or later, David's going to get hot. He's been too good a hitter for too many years to hit 220 the whole year. And maybe moving up into the 2nd spot of the lineup has been a spark for him. Whatever it is, he's swinging the bat really well right now. And getting a pitch like that doesn't hurt. 2-0 when you're looking for a fastball. He had that the other night when he hit a home run. Ahead in the count, got the fastball to hit, and that's pretty much exactly where he hit it.
Well, the first pitch to Nelly Cruz is a strike, and this one a little lower line drive. The only question, would it be high enough to get out of the ballpark? And Ron Washington pumping that fist, yeah, just did.
You mentioned that Harrell has walked a few too many guys this year, and that's gotten him in trouble already in the game. He walked the leadoff hitter, and probably just as importantly, got behind 2-0 to David Murphy. Didn't want to walk the second hitter, came in with a fastball, and David took it deep.
A rip and a miss by Nelson Cruz. It's a ball and 2 strikes. A little side note on the Rangers scoring 2 runs in the first inning. That's the best they have done by doubled, as a matter of fact. In the last 25 games, they have scored a total of 1 first inning run.
Wow.
That's a long time to go without doing that.
I guess.
So they put 2 on the board on 1 swing of the bat by David Murphy here in the first. Nelly Cruz has been hot. It's not just your imagination. He has really been swinging the bat well. 2-2 pitch. That comes up and hits him. Foul tip, and we'll try it again. Cruz, the team leader with 20 home runs, 61 driven in. David Murphy's home run now gives the Rangers an even 100 round trippers for the season. They are 3rd in the American League, trailing Toronto and Baltimore. Late swing and a miss, and Cruz has gone on strikes. 1 away.
Well, we made a lot out of the Rangers' struggles offensively, and There's always speculation in the media as to what the Rangers need to do or can do. The biggest thing is the improvement that's logical from within that we've talked about already. David Murphy hitting like David Murphy. Elvis getting back to his normal way of hitting. Mitch Moreland getting hot again. And there's plenty of guys in the lineup right now that all they have to do is bounce back and play like they always do, and that's a significant improvement in the offense right there without trying to add anything.
2-0 now to Beltre. Yeah, and you're right, Tom. And you know, the Rangers were really at a disadvantage when they had both Kinsler and Moreland out of the lineup. They didn't have anybody to fill in for both those guys. I think now that they have both of them back, there's not the reason of absence that you would say they're faltering. Just some guys, as you said, are not swinging the bat the way they're capable. But at least the guys are back in place.
Yep.
2-1 to Adrian. Pair of home runs last night for Beltre. Now 2-2. Well, Harold gets that sinker down and into a right-hander. It's a devastating pitch.
As soon as he gave up the home run, he kind of locked back into his normal way of pitching.
Adrian 3 for 4 last night, a .304 average. Just missed the outside corner, and the count has gone full. So Harold has had a full count now to 2 of the first 4 hitters that he's faced. A.J. Przinsky waiting in the on-deck circle.
He's thrown one more ball than strikes, 11-10.
That ball's hammered foul down the third base line.
Be careful. That ball carried off there. It whizzed right by the ball girl's head. This one, it's okay to duck on those.
Yeah.
I would. Watch this ball. Just gets by the umpire. It's going to carry him off the wall and just angle right past her.
And meanwhile, Adrian Beltre takes ball 4, so he is aboard. Second walk of the inning. He's on first now with 1 out. A.J. Przinsky coming up.
23 pitches with 1 out in the first inning already for Harold. Rangers working him over pretty good so far.
Yeah, Harold's starts in Minute Maid have been pretty good against the Rangers. The one start he had here last year, worked 5 1/3, gave up 5 runs. But there's been a marked difference between the two venues for Lucas Harold. AJ, a .279 hitter as he steps in. Ball 1 is a bit low. Current homestand has not been kind to AJ, just 2 for 21. We mentioned yesterday that AJ and Dave Maggin, the hitting coach, been out early a couple of days and working on Przinsky's timing and getting his hand positioning correct. Chops that one foul into the Ranger dugout, and the count evens at a ball and a strike. Never easy, is it, Tom, to keep that in order?
Never easy.
The mechanics.
You know, you would think, I think that all the time when I'm watching golf on TV and you hear a guy in a slump and working on his swing, you say, God, these guys are pros. You think their swing would be perfect all the time. It's not. Constantly fine-tuning it. The thing about, you know, at this level, all it takes is a little bit out of whack, and that can cause you to not swing the bat the way you're normally capable of and put you in a slump. I think that's the best thing that video and a good hitting instructor can do is show you where you're varying from the style, the mechanics you have when you're going good.
And Przinsky called out on strikes. That fastball coming back to catch the inside corner. So 2 gone now for Lance Berkman.
Yeah, good pitch by Harold. Did come back, did catch the corner.
So Harold, a couple of strikeouts in the inning to go along with a couple of walks. You got 2 away with Beltre still at first. Lance Berkman, the former longtime Astro, stepping in. .261 the average overall. Half a dozen home runs for Berkman. 0-1. See Lance has enjoyed hitting against his former club. 429 the average. And that's not a small sample size. That's for 17 games. Hit safely in 15 of those 17. Change up. And that floats off the outside corner. It's a ball and a strike. Berkman 1 for 6 in the 2 games since returning from that time he missed with a sore right knee. Broken bat roller to the right side. Altuve in shallow right throws him out. And that'll do it. But David Murphy gets the Rangers on the board. Texas gets 2 runs on 1 hit as David Murphy pounds his 10th home run of the year. We're going to the second. Rangers 2, Astros nothing on TXA 21. Second, let's welcome in Joel Thomas. Joel.
Hey, thanks, Buzz. It's just now starting to cool off up here in Community Corner, but I got a hot deal to tell you about. It's a chance to hear from a legend for the Texas Rangers, 2013 Rangers Baseball Hall of Fame inductee, Ivan Pudge Rodriguez. You can meet him in an intimate setting thanks to Capital One Bank. 50 couples can pose with Pudge, receive an autographed baseball, get a special Q&A session with him, and to top it all off, enjoy the Rangers game afterwards. The event is Sunday, July 21st. For tickets, go to texasrangers.com. Buzz?
All right, Joel, thank you. Make sure if you have a chance to go do that and shake Pudge's hand, talk to him, and what a great guy. Carlos Pena starting things off. And Nick Tepish now with a 2-0 lead with which to work. Deals a strike to the outside corner. Carlos Pena, the veteran DH first baseman, hitting at .217. He has 8 home runs, 25 driven in. Rangers in an overshift against the left-handed hitter with Elvis Andrus on the first base side of second base, playing right at the rim of the outfield grass. Ian Kinsler kind of a rover position out there between first and second. As you can see, Adrian Beltre well off the line, almost splitting the difference between first or second and third. Good curveball that catches the outside corner. It is 1-2 to Pena. Pena originally a Ranger. He has made a living out of hitting in deep counts. Well, he really works the count. Has a great eye at the plate. A ball and 2 strikes. Nick Tepish working that gum over pretty good. Waiting for the sign from Pierzynski. He says, yeah, that's a good one. Just missed the outside corner. And it's 2-2. It's like Nick might have a little extra giddy up on his fastball tonight. Maybe a mile or 2 per hour.
He's popped a couple at 94 miles an hour. Doing a good job with his fastball of keeping it down, too.
Back with the 2-2. Got him swinging.
Good.
Good hook right there. Yes, sir. Strikeout number 3 for Nick Tepish.
Nick throws a cutter, slider, and a curveball. And so far today, this has been his better of the two, the curveball. That's what he struck out Wallace with as well.
The one away here in the second inning. J.D. Martinez, the right fielder, steps up there, right-handed hitter, and takes strike 1.
Nick had a game against Cincinnati where he threw 91 pitches in 4 innings, but he struck out 7 in that game. Still had pretty good stuff. Earlier in the season against the Astros, he had a nice start as well. He struck out 8 in 6 innings. Boy, he's pinpointing that thing to right-hand hitters on the outside corner.
He sure is. Yeah, those 8 strikeouts in the May start against the Astros, a career high for Tepish versus careers. Just getting started. But you got to start someplace.
Yeah.
It's not a bad place to start. Fouled away down the right side, and it's still 0-2.
Another one at 94 miles an hour.
Martinez, as you saw, a 243 hitter. 7 home runs, 30 driven in. Check swing. Did he go around? Yes, he did. The appeal down to Corey Blazer at first. He punched him out of there.
Pretty good formula so far for Nick. Get ahead with your fastball and get the strikeout with your breaking ball. Good breaking ball right there. Wallace, Pena, Martinez all struck out on the curveball. Carter, more of a cut fastball that he missed. Good stuff for Nick through 6 hitters.
So 3 straight strikeouts now. And Brandon Barnes, the center fielder, steps in. A strike to the outside corner. Looked like that cutter that time. Barnes, 253 with the average. You see that the 3 home runs, 17 driven in. Oh, 1 pitch just missed the outside corner. A ball and a strike. Barnes, again, one of those Astros that really struggled on the homestand. And he is down in the count here, 1-2.
Great sinker.
You've got a couple of right-handers out there tonight that make that ball go down pretty good. Hard sinkers from both Harrell and Tepish. The 1-2 pitch. Yes, missed, and it's 2-2. Nick at 3-6. He's at 4.71 ERA. He's gone. 3 straight strikeouts. The Astros are gone here in the second. After 1.5. It is the Rangers 2, the Astros nothing on TXA 21. Hey, Rangers fans, don't forget to text your thoughts on Wash's call to Mark McLemore. You can reach him at 469-209-2121. And if you read your text on the postgame show tonight, you'll win a $50 Sporting Goods gift card, courtesy of Metro PCS. That text number again, 469-209-2121. Bottom third of the Ranger order to face Lucas Harrell here in the second inning. Mitch Moreland, a .264 hitter, is at the plate. 0-1 the count. Mitch with a dozen home runs, 33 RBI. Harrell back to him. Just a little bit low. It's 1-1.
Mitch had a big RBI last night against Charlie Furbush. Tough left-hand pitcher on left-hand hitters. Grounded a ball up the middle. Big hit in that four-run inning the Rangers had.
And Mitch had troubles ever since coming back off the disabled list a week and a half ago, but last night able to find a hole at a critical time. The Rangers really benefited from that. Inside corner, knee high, and the count is even at 2-2. Mitch still just 2 for his last 20, though. That tells you the depth of problem he's had. This is his 13th game since coming back off the disabled list. Harrell to the wide, the 2-2. The count is full. The Rangers did a pretty good job of making Harrell get that ball up. They're not swinging wildly at the ball in the dirt. Moreland trying to get aboard to start things off. He'll be followed by the Rangers shortstop, Elvis Andrews. Harrell with a payoff pitch. Hard hit, but right to Altuve, the second baseman. One gone. Now Elvis Andrews coming out. Elvis 1 for 6 against Lucas Harrell. Elvis a big RBI last night too. That sacrifice line drive, if you will, to left field that scored Angel Beltre, who was a pinch runner, with a go-ahead run. Takes a strike here. 0-1 the count. Elvis, 10 of the last 13 games he's hit safely. 0-2 now. When he hit 8th yesterday, that was as low as Elvis had hit in the batting order. It's way back in 2010, April of 2010, when he batted 9th. Inside, a ball and 2 strikes. And Elvis' reaction when asked about it, hey, I'm not going that good. I don't blame him. I'd move me down too.
Yep, that's a good answer.
2-2. That's one of the things I think that's always impressed me about Elvis and being around Ron Washington is how Elvis is always thinking about what's best for the ball club first. That's inside. It's 3-2.
Well, that's one of the reasons he's sitting on that big contract he's got right now.
That's a good point.
Obviously, he's a great player, but being that kind of a player, a fan favorite, and a team player certainly makes it easier for the team to commit to you.
And getting a few base hits doesn't hurt either. Elvis with a chopper through the hole on the left side. That's the second Ranger hit of the night. So Andrews at first with 1 out. Leonis Martin coming up. Got kind of a high sinker there. Elvis at first, 17 stolen bases. He is one behind the team leader who is at the plate right now, Leonis Martin. Harrell will go first base way to drive Andrews back. Leonis at 291, 5 home runs, 15 driven in. After his 15-game hitting streak was broken night before last, he came back with a hit yesterday. Last 17 games, which encompasses that hitting streak, 383 the average. 1 ball, no strikes. Martin checking with Gary Pettis, the third base coach. Pettis relaying some signs over to Elvis and to Leonis. A strike to the inside corner. It's 1-1. See by Harrell's motion that he probably is pretty tough to run on. Gary Pettis, again, relaying those signs, and Ron Washington will flash out to him. Harrell has kind of a slide step most of the time. Pretty quick to the plate. There goes Elvis. The pitch is inside. The throw is high and into center field. Elvis got up, but the center fielder Barnes had come in very quickly, so Elvis has to stay there, but he has the stolen base and gets himself into scoring position with his 18th swipe of the year. He picked a good pitch to go on, too, the breaking ball.
Yeah, it was a tough pitch for Castro down and in like that. If he made a perfect throw, he might have had a chance. But that was not one you can catch and throw quickly, as low as it is. He had to reach down for it, and then the ball just got away from him.
A 2-1 the count to Leonis Martin. High and tight, and it's 3-1. Martin, the number 9 hitter, ahead of the count. He will be followed by the top of the order, and that means Ian Kinsler. Elvis stepping his lead off from second base. Harrell a long look in. Now the right-hander okays the sign and checks Andrews. What a rip at that fastball. It's fouled straight back. The count is full. 5th time in the first 9 hitters that Harrell has gone to a full count tonight. That's why he's approaching 50 pitches. Not through 2 innings yet. Castro flashing a series of signs out, and Harrell agrees to one. Got him swinging. Up, might have swung at ball 4, but it ends up to be strikeout number 3 for Harrell. 2 gone, and Ian Kinsler will come up.
Yeah, pitches were all over the place. High, low, up, down, and away. And that one was a little bit out of the strike zone. A lot of times as a hitter, you get to that point, you're just anticipating a strike. You're geared up to swing. And then as soon as you do it, you realize, ooh, I just swung at ball 4. That happens. Sometimes you give the pitcher too much credit.
Yeah, that happens. Goes both ways sometimes. Slow breaking ball, and that dips into the inside corner. Getting that down on the count, 0-1. Kinsler walked and scored in the first.
50 pitches coming up for Harrell.
.26 of the first 49 have been strikes. Not a real good strike-to-ball ratio. Way outside. Castro has to go to the backhand. It's 1-1 now to Kinsler. In a modest 3-game hitting streak, we see over the 7 games of this homestand +1, just 3 for 27. Harrell ready. And the pitch outside is 2 balls and a strike.
One thing, Harrell has thrown 100 innings in 18 starts. He's averaged less than 6 innings per start, and you can see the reason why. He's had a few too many walks and probably a few too many high pitch counts. Hasn't allowed him to pitch deeply into games. And remember, 10 of his 18 starts have been starts where he's given up 2 earned runs or fewer. So it's not like he's given up 4 runs every time he goes out there either.
Well, the breaking ball, this one missed. It's 3 balls and a strike. Harrell getting a little frustrated that he didn't get that call, but Jim Joyce will tell you, the home plate umpire, if you're not around the plate a lot, you're probably not going to get very many close calls either. Kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy. 3 balls, 1 strike, the count to Kinsler. Andrus at second. 2 outs here in the bottom of the second inning. Drop down sidearm, fires a strike.
Take this one out of nowhere. I guess he figured he's going to throw a fastball. He wanted to give Ian a different look so he couldn't just wail away at it, and it worked.
He did.
Ian took it.
That was a different look. The only problem when you do that on 3 and 1, you got to do something else on 3 and 2. He's already seen that one. Outside, ball 4.
That's good pitch recognition. He never even flinched at that 3-2 curveball. You think he got him set up for it after the 3-1 fastball. But Ian doesn't even begin to offer at it. He just watches it all the way.
A second straight walk to Kinsler. Runners now at first and second with 2 outs for David Murphy, who left the yard his first time up. Murph with his 10th home run into the Ranger bullpen. A 2-run blast, so Murphy now with 30 RBI and a batting average at .223 as he has a couple aboard here in the second inning. Harrell ready to work. A check of Kinsler and Andrus. And the breaking ball is low and inside for ball 1.
He's making it a little bit hard on himself. He can't get his breaking ball over, and the Rangers aren't swinging at it.
Murphy, you remember on Wednesday night, had the home run off of Felix Hernandez. He got the Rangers on the board for the first time in that game. Broke a long dry spell for Murph with a fastball strike. Now here's the TXU Energy replay. First inning with Kinsler aboard, and David Murphy lines his 10th home run of the year into the bullpen. TXU Energy, the right things right now. Breaking ball missed. It's 2-1. Again, I'll say the Rangers have done a great job tonight making Harrell get the ball in the strike zone. He haven't been swinging at a lot of his pitches that were just out of the strike zone.
I don't think they've swung at a breaking ball out of the strike zone. I don't know if they've swung at a breaking ball, period. They're making him throw his fastball.
Andrus with a single is at second base. Kinsler walked. He is at first. There are 2 away, and the 2-1 pitch. And that is low. 3-1 to Murphy.
He knows Murph looked for a fastball ahead in the count and hit a home run, so it's 2-1. He threw him a changeup. But again, anything off speed has been tough for him to locate. There's the ball he hit out, number 3.
And ball 4. That will load him up for Nelson Cruz.
That's 4 walks in 2 innings, and this will be his 60th pitch coming up in 2 innings. So the long reliever might as well start doing his calisthenics now, because sooner or later he's going to be in there.
And probably sooner rather than later. The base is full of Rangers now with 2 outs. Nelson Cruz struck out his first time up there. It's righty against righty. We've got Andrus at third, Kinsler at second, Murphy at first. Harrell ready to work. From the stretch he comes. Inside, ball 1. If I were Harrell, I'd go back to the windup. You haven't had much luck throwing from the stretch.
No, for sure.
Right-hander set again, the 1-0 pitch. Right down the third base line and foul. Not by a matter of more than a couple of inches.
He had a great chance to score 3 runs if he got past the ball girl. That's hugging that line. Oh boy, is that's fair all the way down the line to the last foot.
See, Nelly, 5th in the American League with those 61 RBI.
Imagine having 85 RBIs before the All-Star break and you're only 2 ahead.
Cruz had a rip there and fouled it off to the right.
Remember, the year Juan had 100 before the All-Star break.
Yeah.
Of course, with a big week, Cabrera and Chris Davis could do the same thing.
Sure could. Castro ought to talk to Harold. And Altuve coming in trying to eavesdrop to find out what they had decided to do on this next pitch. Middle infielders like to know what is going on so they can anticipate where the ball will probably be hit. Altuve in charge of things out there. Ronnie Cedeno, the shortstop, checking with him. Now Harold ready, the 1-2 pitch. Hit deep, left center field, way back, up the alley, goodbye! Grand slam, Nelly Cruz. The Rangers lead 6-0.
Himself in trouble with 2 outs and 1 on. He walked Kinsler, he walked Murphy, and sets it up for Nelly Cruz. And I think the thing that's hurt Harold the most is his inability to have any effective pitch other than his fastball. Well, the hitters are just laying off the curveball, waiting for a fastball, and it's led to a couple of home runs.
Nelly Cruz. Another grand slam off the big boomstick of Nelly Cruz. Adrian Beltre. Don't know whether he had time called or not. He walked out of the batter's box, and Jim Joyce never did signal whether he had called time or not.
Even if it didn't go out, it was going to score 3 runs.
Yeah, 412 feet, a home run, and Nelly with his second grand slam this year. Oh, and Adrian trying to back it up with a solo shot, fouled it off. Two-2 pitch. Out of play. Let's take a look at the Ford leaderboard for tonight. And we'll show you the career batting average all time for the Rangers. And, Adrian Beltre trailing only Al Oliver. The high career average, 308 for Adrian. Pops this one up. Shallow right field. Altuve angling across, makes the catch, and that'll do it. But not before the Rangers strike. The thunder from the boomstick of Nelly Cruz. A grand slam. The Rangers played 4 on a couple of hits and a couple of runs. We're going to the third. It's now the Rangers 6, the Astros nothing on TXA 21. They're called Firework Franks, and food service, sports
My country.
You don't have to stand when you eat these. You can sit down.
They
That's
look
great.
good.
Red, white, and blue hot dogs. They're great. They're great
All
stuff.
right.
Sports
Thank
Service
you very much.
is selling these out here. They're going to sell them from tomorrow through the end of the homestand, so through Sunday. And what they're going to do is donate $1 for every fireworks frank that's purchased to the West Texas relief efforts. So a great cause. And come on out, eat to your heart's content, and help a good cause, the folks down in West Texas. And Sports Service will be handling all of that here at the ballpark. Now, Nick Tepish going to work against Matt Dominguez. And Dominguez takes a strike. It's 0-2. But Tepish, a 6-run outburst to support the young right-hander.
Well, Nick has pitched a lot of games where he didn't get a lot of support. Here's one where he just has to concentrate on being aggressive. Don't think about the 6 runs, right? Just go right after him. And he's got a good sinker. He's spotting his fastball, keeping it down well. Just feature that and go right at him.
1-2 pitch to Dominguez. Skied to right field. Nelly Cruz in a bit. Now backpedals a couple of steps. That is out number 1. First ball that's been hit in the air tonight off of Tepish. But Dominguez skies out. Now Ronnie Cedeno will come up. Cedeno hitting in the number 9 slot. He's one of the few veterans on the ball club. I guess you could say he and Carlos Pena, really the guys that the Astros brought in to play, but also to mentor some of the young guys. They're ripping a miss.
When you think you're getting a fastball, you see him smiling. He got the cut fastball. He was geared up to jerk the fastball right there and got crossed up a little bit by Tepish.
0-1.
There's the fastball.
Back.
If he threw that the first time, he was ready for it. Second
was.
time, he wasn't quite as ready for it, though.
Bo Porter, talking about the youngest team in Major League Baseball, just 27 and a half years or thereabouts. The average age of this Astros team. Check swing and no appeal. It's a ball and 2 strikes.
Well, the Astros are 31 and 55. Well, we were talking to Alan Ashby before the game, and you know, for a while they went, what was it, 21 and 19?
Yeah.
20, he said 20 and 19, something like that, for an extended period of time. Another strikeout. They were an over 500 team for over 40 games. They had a pretty good stretch going right there. Got to be frustrating for Bo Porter, their new manager. He's a very upbeat, positive, energetic guy. And over 6 months and 162 games of not playing the kind of baseball you hope to be playing as time goes on, it can take its toll on you. But
sure,
he's a good guy for the job.
Now here's Altuve, who has the only base hit against Nick Tepish tonight. That was a leadoff single in the first inning.
They've got some building blocks in their lineup, and they've got some good young players. They've had a couple of good drafts with top picks in the draft the last couple of years. And it's just a matter of patience. You can't draft a 7-foot center and get good overnight. In baseball, it takes years, maybe 3 or 4 years before their young players get to the big leagues and they become a contender.
2-1. Yeah, I can see Bo Porter's predicament, though, as much as he understands that, and he does understand that. And the guys, I'm sure, in the front office say, "Hey, don't worry about it. You know, we're trying to build for the future and that kind of thing." It still has to gnaw at him.
Yeah.
As much of a competitor as he is, that they're not winning more right now.
Exactly, and you can't come out as a manager and say, "I don't expect to win this year." You know, you have to be positive. You have to tell your players that you expect to win. And I think, based on the talent they have, that they've responded as well as they possibly could.
Altuve has shot backhanded by Beltre. Good morning. That'll do it. Another 1, 2, 3 inning. Tepish and company have retired 9 straight. 2.5 in the books. It's the Rangers 6, the Astros nothing on TXA 21. Now Lucas Harrell going to work to A.J. Przinski, and A.J. taps the first one down to the first baseman, Wallace, who wins that race. And very quickly, there's one out here in the Ranger third. You saw the score, 6-0. Rangers have scored 2 in the first, 4 in the second. Home runs accounting for all of the runs here tonight. David Murphy, a 2-run blast in the first. Nelly Cruz, a grand salami in the second inning. Here's Lance Berkman, who grounded to second base as he ended things in the Ranger first. Berkman at 259 as Harrell comes to him with a fastball that's off the plate inside for ball 1. Berkman brings a 9-game hitting streak against these Astros into play here tonight. Fouls off the next pitch to even things up. That's still the top of the list as far as most offensive categories for the Houston Astros in their career. 1-2. Berkman first in slugging percentage at .549, second in homers, .326, third in average at .296. Right on down the list. Third in RBI, third in runs. He got fisted there and fouled it off to the left. Still a ball and 2 strikes. Sometimes you catch that shot of Lance Berkman after he's been jammed like on that last pitch and looks really disgusted with the pass he just made at the ball. Like he's not able to do exactly what he wants to with the bat.
I think that's probably how he feels, Buzz. He's getting some pitches that he normally could handle. And right now, I just think his knees are such that he can't drive the ball and take the swing with the same power that he's had in the past. It has to be frustrating to a great hitter.
2-2 now. Yeah, he said especially from the left side of the plate. That right knee, which is his front leg, he said doesn't provide him the resistance to hit against. Just outside, the count is now full to Lance. So Berkman trying to get aboard with one out. Mitch Moreland, the Ranger first baseman, is waiting in the on-deck circle. Payoff pitch from Harrell. Popped up. Third base side, Dominguez into foul territory through the coach's box. And that is out number 2. Folks, all the best of the American League take on the National League's top players. It's the 2013 MLB All-Star Game. Don't miss the battle for World Series home field advantage. That's next Tuesday, or I should say Tuesday, July 16th on Fox. The road to October begins now. First time tonight that Harrell has retired the first 2 hitters in succession. Mitch Moreland, a ground ball to second, his first time up there. 1 ball, no strikes. Rangers 6 runs tonight on just 3 hits. But Harrell, as we've talked about, has had 4 walks mixed in there, and 3 of the 4 walkers have scored. Two and 0. Now 3-0. At the 80th pitch of the night for Lucas Harrell.
40 strikes and 40 balls. That's a line I don't think we've ever seen before.
No, it's rare to have somebody throw that many pitches and get to a 50-50 proposition.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen that.
And ball 4. So Moreland draws the 2-out walk. 5th walk issued by Harrell, and that'll bring up Elvis Andrus.
You know, if you're, the Astros just try to get as much as they can out of Harrell. Bo Porter knows he doesn't have it tonight, but if you constantly have to bring your bullpen in that early in a ball game, you just have a fried bullpen. Well, if he can get 1 inning more, 2 innings more, squeeze as much as he can, that's could be a couple of innings that the bullpen doesn't have to pitch.
Saw former Ranger Doug Brocail there, the pitching coach for the Astros, and just kind of a bewildered look on his face. Here's Elvis, who singled his first time up, and he takes a thigh-high strike. It's 0-1. So Elvis with that base hit now, the average up to 246. Moreland a modest lead at first as Harrell comes set and checks it. Strike two. Elvis waiting. Harrell a long look in. Now the right-hander is ready to work. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Elvis now has hit safely in 11 of his last 14 games. Average over that span approaching 285. So it's starting to turn back the right way. In the dirt, nice stop by Castro. Went down to both knees to block that breaking ball. 2-2. But Elvis's latest streak coming on the heels of a 40-game span in which he hit under 200, 199 coming into play tonight. That's tough to overcome. Quickly, anyway. Now the 2-2 coming. Another full count for Harrell.
A couple of birthdays to mention. Buzz Mike Hockesvaney from Bedford, Texas is 88 years old today. 88 years old and sees about half of the Ranger games. Edith Groomer from White Settlement is 91. And Wilda Summer from Fort Worth is 90 years old today.
Chopper to third, backing up. Dominguez has it, and on to first. That'll do it. Well, the Rangers strand a runner, their second of the night, on a walk. We're going to the 4th inning here at Rangers Ballpark. It's the Rangers 6, the Astros nothing on TXA 21.
Honoring 9 special people tonight. They're honoring the men who served in the battles in World War II, both in the Pacific and in Atlantic. And they're all sitting here in a special suite where they'll be honored during the game. And one of those men is Sergeant Major Robert Blatnick. And recently you had a trip back to Normandy, a place you thought you'd never want to go back to, didn't you?
It was great. I can't believe that I got there. It was very emotional to me. As I was walking along that beach, I don't know how I was able to walk that far. But God was carrying me, and the souls of all those men buried there were carrying me along. But I walked a quarter mile, which I haven't walked that far since the year 2000. I cannot believe it happened.
Did it bring back a lot of memories of...
It brought tremendous memories. It was all a haze to me at first, but as I was getting back there on the beach, these things started coming back to me, what was happening then, and I just keep thanking the Lord that He was able to save me and bring me back out of that alive. I don't know how I got it. It was a miracle of miracles, believe me.
Well, we're glad you got out of there alive. And how do you feel about the Rangers honoring you tonight?
Well, this is a great deal. The Rangers are a great team. And, man, we came the right day when they're leading 6-0. That's absolutely wonderful. God bless America. God bless the Rangers.
All right, Sergeant Major. Appreciate it, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
and thank you for your service.
Thank you. God bless you.
God bless. Buzz.
Thank you, Joel.
I'll tell you one thing. I hope when I'm his age.
Whoa, well, you aren't kidding. One thing I know, we won't have had the experiences that he's had. No way to duplicate those. That's tremendous.
Dream what that would have been like.
2-2 pitch, got him swinging. And the strikeout will be completed in the throw to first. And Nick Tepish now with 7 strikeouts. And that's how the 4th inning begins for the Ranger right-hander.
I definitely have a plan to throw Wallace breaking balls, that's for sure. I don't think he's seen anything but a breaking ball. Definitely not for a strike anyway. He struck out twice. Finishing up on the birthdays yesterday, Teresa Strength from Fort Worth was 80 years old. Wilma Dark from Olney, Texas is 93 years old today. And after this pitch, we have a couple of anniversaries as well.
Jason Castro, the hitter.
Bobby and Ernest McCurley from Hearst are having their 50th anniversary today. And having their 56th anniversary, Joyce and John Kearney from Garland. Happy birthday to Wilma, Teresa, Wilda, Edith, and Mike. And happy anniversaries to Bobby and Ernest and Joyce and John. Glad you're watching a good Ranger game right now.
1-1, the count to Jason Castro, and the changeup that time floated off the outside corner. It's 2-1. Castro, a ground ball to second back in the 1st inning. 10 straight now sent down by Nick Tepish. He is mowed right through the Astros since the 1st inning single by Jose Altuve. Foul back to the screen. It's 2-2.
We talked about Nick in the pregame show. In the opening to the show, excuse me, we didn't have a part in the pregame show. How well he has pitched the first time through the lineup. And it was 1 for 9 today, the first time through the lineup. Second time through has been pretty good. Let's keep an eye on the 3rd time through the lineup today.
Left center field, that is plugging the gap. It's going to the wall, and a 1-hop off the wall, played by Leonis Martin into second with a ringing double. Jason Castro.
You talk about building blocks that are here right now for the future. Obviously, Castro is one. He was the 10th pick in the 2008 draft. He's worked his way up into the middle of the lineup. So if you do have a building block or 2 or 3, having a catcher is certainly a strong point. A position that's hard to find a frontline player at. You get spoiled as an organization when you have Jim Sundberg for 10 years and Pudge Rodriguez for 10+ years.
Sure. So Castro at second with 1 out. Chris Carter a strikeout his first time and takes that breaking ball off the outer edge. It is 1-0. Carter at 227 as he stands at the plate. He and Matt Dominguez tied for the team lead with 44 RBI this year. Rip and a miss. It's 1-1. You know, Tom, you're talking about the 2nd time through, 3rd time through, that kind of thing. Yeah, if Nick, as he has done this first time through the order, doesn't have to use all of his pitches, in other words, he saves a bullet or 2 on the kinds of pitches that he throws to him, he's going to have an easier time the 3rd time through the order. I think too many guys, and we see that with the pitch counts mounting quickly, go out there and throw every pitch they have in their arsenal to every
right
hitter.
Off the bat. Yeah.
And it stands to reason by the time you get through the order twice that the hitters are pretty well tuned into what you're featuring that night. 1-2 pitch. Call strike 3.
Well, he just got Carter wondering what's happening up at the plate today.
Yep.
First time up, it was 4 straight fastballs and then a cutter for strike 3. This time it was a lot of breaking balls and then a fastball for strike 3. He's reversed the pattern.
Now let's take a look at tonight's AT&T trivia question. We'd like to ask you who are the only 2 players in MLB history with 100 RBI before the All-Star break. As long as we're sneaking up on that All-Star break here in about 9 days. There are only 2 of them. I'm asking you who they are. So 2 gone. Here is Carlos Pena, who went down swinging, leading off the second. The slow breaking ball hangs outside.
After a bunch of breaking balls, there's the fastball that he threw Carter almost 4 straight times the first time up.
Tepish, a
pretty good
career
start.
high. Yeah. Ties his career high with 8 strikeouts against these Astros. Second straight outing against Houston that he's had that many punch-outs. A.J. Brzezinski coming up, trying to bluff his counterpart, Jason Castro, back in second. 1-1 to Pena. Mentioned Carlos has always had a great eye. He's always struck out a lot, too. And the 2 may not seem compatible, but he has been the kind of guy, when he swings, well, he lets it go. It's a lot of home runs, a lot of strikeouts, and a lot of walks. Didn't mean to do that. Fouled that inside fastball away. It's 1-2. Runners in scoring position, about 20 points higher than the overall average for Pena. Again, the Ranger infield swung around to the right. The overshift is on with Beltre, the lone player, on the third base side. Castro the lead from second as Tepish peers in for the sign. Now Pena tired of waiting. Pena back in. Tepish okays the sign. The 1-2 pitch. Just did get a piece of it. Pretty good sinker right there. But Tepish, this might be as good a sinker as we've seen Tepish have. And he's throwing it hard. It has a lot of late movement. Only a couple of balls have really been hit in the air with any kind of authority. Still 1-2 to Pena. The right-hander's ready. And the pitch low and inside. Hard slider or cutter. That evens the count at 2-2. Carlos Pena in an 0-for-6 streak. We talked about the difficulties the Astros had in that last homestand. Pena is 2 for 12 in the 9 games at Minute Maid. The 2-2 pitch on the way. Got him swinging. New career high with 9 strikeouts. That in 4 innings for Nick Tepish. No runs a hit and 1 man left. And being honored tonight, the World War II heroes here at Rangers Ballpark, and seeing the Rangers lead 6-0 after 3.5. Baseball on TXA 21 is sponsored by SportsCityToyota.com. A gorgeous evening out here at Rangers Ballpark in Arlington. Temperature right around 90 degrees as we head into the bottom of the fourth inning. Leonis Martin to start things off against Lucas Harrell. First ball swinging. It's a fair ball driven down the right field side. Into the corner goes Martinez, putting on the burner. There goes Leonis in with a triple.
There aren't many guys in the league that get from home to third any quicker than that. He was flying and he cut the corners perfectly. Wallace is playing way off the line at first base. So he grounds the sinker right down the line. Stays in the corner. He cuts those angles perfectly. Never broke stride.
Well, the fifth triple of the year. Well, Leonis Martin, that is good for fourth in the American League. Ellsbury has 7. Both Trout and Drew have 6. And then Leonis Martin. So he is at third with nobody out. Excuse me, in the infield will come all the way in with Ian Kinsler at the plate. Kinsler takes the pitch just low for ball 1. Ian has walked twice and scored twice. Ian's much better than league average about getting that runner home from third with fewer than 2 outs. 2-0 the count. Rangers leading 6-0, trying to add on here in the fourth inning. Harrell working from the stretch. Deals a sinking strike to Ian Kinsler. Harrell on a warm evening is pushing himself to the limit. The 2-1. It's now 3-1.
It's one thing to throw 92 pitches. It's another thing to jam it into 3 innings.
Yeah. 30 in the first, 39 in the second. Cut it in half, 18 in the third. Now the 3-1. Drop down again. And
same thing he did to Ian last time on a 3-1 count. Ended up walking him on a breaking ball.
Ian out, trying to check his memory bank to recall that last at bat. Harrell ready for the payoff pitch. Outside and low, ball 4. Third straight walk garnered by Kinsey. That puts runners at the corners, nobody out. And David Murphy coming up. 6 walks. Well, Lucas Harrell and Doug Rocaille making a local call down to the bullpen to get somebody going.
Well, we talked that Harrell's walks were in the top 10 for most walks. In June, he cut his walks to about 2.5 per 9 innings. He really cut back on his walks. But today, it's not looking that way.
Here's Murph, a 2-run home run in the first, a walk and a run scored in the second. Martin, the runner, at third. Kinsler at first. And Murphy takes a knee-high strike. It's 0-1. David, 30 RBI.
If he throws a strike right here, it'll go from 40-40 to 48-48. So he's right on track to make it 50-50.
Wow.
Strikes and balls.
Inside. That fastball running off the plate. 1-1 the count to Murphy. That's a lot of work for 3+ innings.
Yeah. He's got to be gassed right now.
I would think so. Right-hander sets. And a double play ground ball to Altuve. They get the twin killing, but in to score Leonis Martin. And the Rangers extend their lead. It's now 7-0. Texas Rangers over the Houston Astros. And that empties the bases for Nelly Cruz.
And Bo Porter's looking at it like, well, there's 2 outs the bullpen's not going to have to get.
Well, the Rangers up by 7, and here's the main reason why they've gotten that far ahead. Nelly Cruz last time up in his 2nd grand slam of the year. Up to his home run totals at 21, RBIs to 65, and he pops this one up on the infield right side. Wallace there, and pops out of his glove. And Cruz will be safe on the air for Brett Wallace.
That's a tough one to analyze right there. Just looked down, thought the inning was over like everybody else in the ballpark. Wallace sees it, puts his glove up, takes his eye off it, made the assumption it was going in his glove. It went in his glove for a little bit. He went to get it out of his glove right here. Watch, puts his hand in his glove to get the ball, and he didn't have it.
It hit the eject button. First pitch to Adrian Beltre is a breaking ball that's wide. It is 1-0. Apparently Murphy's Law is in effect here tonight for the Astros. Beltre, a walk and a pop out tonight. Adrian hitting .303. Harrell back to the plate. 1-1 the count. Last 8 ball games, Adrian has just been on fire. 5 RBI, 5 runs scored, couple of home runs. Two and one. Go back over the last 2 months of work for Adrian Beltre. 2 months ago, he was hitting .214. Since then, he's hit .345. Seen that average up to over 300 now. The 2-1 pitch. That ball is belted to left field. If it's fair, it is gone. Goodbye. Off the foul pole, Adrian Beltre. A 2-run home run. It is 9-0 Texas.
Probably doesn't mean much, but Harrell could have been out of the inning, obviously. Wallace had caught that little pop-up, and as it is, it's 2 unearned runs, but it keeps him from being replaced in the middle of the inning if he can get out of it, and that's something for a pitcher. At least he could have walked off the field and into the dugout. Now after the home run, Bo Porter's going to come and bring a lefty in to face A.J. Pierzynski.
Adrian Beltre, his 3rd home run in the last 2 nights. Flanked it off the foul pole about 3/4 of the way up. And the Rangers have hit 3 long balls tonight. They lead 9-0. And Lucas Harrell is finished for the night. Pitching change here at Rangers Ballpark in Arlington. We'll be right back with the Rangers leading by 9. 2 outs in the bottom of the 4th inning. And remember the AT&T trivia question we asked you just a little while ago. Only 2 players in MLB history with 100 RBI before the All-Star break. Who are they? And name very familiar to all of you, Juan Gonzalez. Hank Greenberg has the record for the most at 103 back in 1935. And Orlando on this date in 1998, 15 years ago, second player in MLB history joining Hank Greenberg. 100 RBI before the All-Star break, a pair of home runs off Randy Johnson.
Boy, that's a way to do it.
No kidding. Say the 2 home runs off Johnson in and of itself are enough. Brett Oberholzer, the left-hander, 23-year-old, 24, just turned 24 the first of this month. On to face A.J. Brzezinski, and he fires a strike.
Only been up for a couple of ball games. Pitched 4 innings. Giving up a couple of home runs in 4 innings.
6'1", 235, the left-hander, and A.J. pops it up, left side of the infield. Dominguez, the third baseman back there, makes the catch to the taunting of fans, and that'll do it. But the Rangers come up with 2 more on Adrian Beltre's 17th home run of the year. We're going to the 5th. Rangers 9, Astros nothing on TXA 21. The Rangers tonight honoring the World War II veterans, Army, Marines. Nice standing ovation by the large crowd here tonight. And I want to thank all of the veterans here tonight for their great service and sacrifice for this country. Fantastic to see them come out here. And a couple of them were on Iwo Jima with the flag raising during the Battle of Iwo Jima. All different theaters of World War II, and glad to see them out here and enjoying Ranger baseball. And they are, in a great part, responsible for our ability to enjoy Ranger baseball and all the other freedoms we have. 5th inning, Nick Tepesch going to work. J.D. Martinez fouls off the first pitch. It is 0-1. Martinez, Barnes, and Dominguez, the first 3 Astros to face Nick Tepesch, who has allowed just 2 hits. He has not walked a batter. He has struck out 9 through the first 4 innings.
Yeah, Nick has struck out the side twice in 4 innings.
And the right-hander, each strikeout now establishes a new career high for himself. He is going after the Astros with a vengeance. That's just off the outside corner. A ball and 2 strikes. Tepesch back to the plate. Just missed inside. It's 2-2. Martinez went down swinging. He was in the middle of that strike out the side in order second inning for Tepish. Getting here in the leadoff spot in the 5th. Lines one to left field. That is in for a hit. Murphy toward the line to cut it off. Martinez going in for 2, and he will reach with a stand-up double. Just lunged out and pulled it down the line, and that is the 3rd hit, the second 2-bagger for the Astros against Nick Tepish.
One thing the Astros have tonight that most teams that face Nick don't have is a number of right-hand hitters in their lineup. They have 6 right-hand hitters. Generally, against Nick, you'll see a lineup with more left-hand hitters in it. Right-hand hitters on the season are only hitting .205 against him.
First pitch to Brandon Barnes is inside for ball 1. Barnes, like his 2 predecessors in the batting order, struck out the first time that they faced Tepish. There's a strike. It's 1-1. Well, this is where, if you're Nick Tepish, you'd really like to throw it. Just fill the ballpark up with strikes and see how deep in the game you can get. You've got a 9-0 lead. Rangers could really use an 8 or even a 9-inning performance by a starter tonight. And Nick, with the luxury of not having to worry about every single mistake, certainly has the capability of doing that. 2-1, the count to Barnes. 2-2. To do that, however, Nick is going to have to throw more strikes early in the count. He doesn't want to go to 2-1 count. He wants to get the ball put in play by the 2nd or 3rd pitch that he throws in every hitter. To right field, Cruz backing up, has a play on it. Makes the catch, tagging at 2nd. Martinez bluffs a move to 3rd. And Kelly uncorks a late.
He would have been out if he went. Fans respond to that kind of throw. And when it's 9-0, you can't take a chance. It's fairly deep right field, though. Most of the time you'd go to 3rd. Don't think he would have made it, though.
No.
You can see the cutoff man. Elvis is the cutoff man. He comes in. Now, if he's going, Elvis lets this ball go, and it's pretty much one hop to Adrian, and he's out at 3rd base.
1 gone. Here's Matt Dominguez, who flied to right his first time up. Dominguez, the first-year 3rd baseman, 11 home runs, 44 driven in. He has spent the majority of the year hitting down in the batting order, and Astros have been very impressed with what this young man has been able to do, both with the bat and with the glove. There's a strike. I really think at Dominguez they have a solid 3rd baseman for the foreseeable future. Hasn't had a lot of success, as those numbers tell you, on the road.
I think as you look at the Astros, you would call Dominguez, Castro, and Altuve 3 guys that they count on being here for many years to come, being a young nucleus of their ball club as they develop a contender, and their young players come from the minor leagues to the big leagues. Jury is out, I think, on everybody else, but I think they're definitely counting on those 3 guys. Doesn't mean the other guys can't do the same thing.
Right.
These guys are a little more highly touted right now. Anyway.
0-2 pitch. Line to right, a base hit. Martinez will get to 3rd and stop right there as Cruz comes up with the ball and throws a 1-hop strike to Pierzynski.
Fans love it. Show your arm off twice in about 5 pitches.
Now Mike Maddox going out to the mound very quickly. Settle down, Nick. Refocus the idea of keeping the ball down in the strike zone. He's gotten a couple up this inning that have cost him base hits. Mike always positive when he heads to the mound and says, okay, Nick, the ball hit back to you. Now who do you have covering 2nd? And Elvis says, I've got it. Got a right-handed hitter up there, and the person of Ronnie Cedeno. Second time through the order, the difference. But I still think a lot of that has to do with the third time through the order. First of all, depends on when you get the third time through the order. If you get there in the third inning, batting average is going to be a lot higher. You've already thrown a lot of pitches and you've been in trouble a bunch.
Yeah, you get there in the third inning and Lucas Harrell almost did it today.
Yeah. Cedeno, first ball swinging, shoots it foul to the right. It is 0-1.
You get to the third time around the lineup in the third inning, and you're still in there. The bullpen must have gone on vacation.
That's right. They left. Nobody would answer the phone out there.
We're not coming in.
Little tapper foul. It's 0-2. Well, assuming you get there in the a good time would be the fifth inning, late fifth and sixth, and you've already thrown upwards of say 75 or 80 pitches, so it stands to reason that unless you are just one of those guys that can really retain your great velocity and movement, you're going to have more problems with the third time through the order, or the fourth time, if you will. Pitch just low, and it's 1-2. But again, if you've been able to conserve a couple of pitches, different looks for hitters, you've got a chance to battle them with something different. A ball and 2 strikes to Ronnie Cedeno. Runners at the corners and 1 out. Could be a double play. Second, first, they got it. Mike Maddox said, just give me a double play and we'll come back to the bench and talk about it. And Nick Tepish obliged with the help of Beltre, Kinsler, and Mormon. Halfway through the ballgame, Rangers 9, Astros 0. TXA 21. On TXA 21 is sponsored by Standard Insurance. Call 1-800-929-2424. Nick Tepish, after he settled down a little bit, giving up a couple of hits, got the double play ground ball to end the fifth. And he's back to the dugout, having a chance to catch his breath as the Rangers come to bat here in the bottom half of inning number 5. Lance Berkman leading things off against Brett Oberholzer, who came on and got the final out of the 4th inning. Berkman, who turns around to hit from the right side, takes outside. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Oberholzer is a carbon copy of another left-handed reliever in the American League. He's probably maybe 2 inches shorter than him, but his arm action is almost the exact same thing as Matt Thornton for the White Sox.
Yeah, you're right.
The way he comes overhand like that.
Yep.
Yeah. Body's a little different, but the delivery is very similar. Can't picture Thornton right here, but right there, that's Thornton.
Yeah, he's probably a couple inches shorter height-wise and about 6 miles an hour shorter on the fastball.
One thing with Thornton, it's usually 94 to 95.
3-1 the count to Berkman. Didn't mean to do it, trying to get the bat out of the way, and it's a full count. Lance trying to get aboard to start the Ranger fifth. He'll be followed by Mitch Moreland. Rangers leading 9-0. They have had only 5 hits, but 3 of them have left the ballpark. Lucas Harrell gave up all 3 home runs. 7 of the 9 runs were earned against him. Payoff pitch, call strike 3. Berkman caught looking, and Jim Joyce rang him up. 1 away.
Pretty good pitch. Right in the center of the plate and in the strike zone.
So Oberholzer now will go to work on Moreland. Oberholzer came over to the Houston Astros back at the trading deadline of 2011. Came from the Atlanta Braves. And that was the deal that sent Michael Bourne, the fleet-footed outfielder, over to Atlanta at the trade deadline. 1 ball, no strikes. Oberholzer came along with a couple of other pitchers, Juan Abreu and Paul Clemens. Also Jordan Schaefer, the outfielder, in exchange for Bourne. Line drive down the right field line. That is down and going to the wall. And Moreland just continues to blister left-handed pitcher. Base hit last night against Charlie Furbush, a left-hander. And tonight he comes in against Brett Oberholzer and flanks his 18th double off the wall and right.
High fastball up and in. Good swing by Mitch.
Sixth hit of the night for the Rangers. Five of them have been extra base hits. The only single in the bunch, Elvis Andrus singled to left field in the second inning. They had 3 home runs, a double and a triple. Way inside. Elvis jackknifing out of the way. 1 ball and no strikes. The Rangers hitting for the cycle here in the first 4 innings plus. Elvis 1 for 2. Also had a stolen base that first time on. Hitting with runners in scoring position has not been something that has been kind to Elvis. Got Moreland out there at second base here. 1-0 pitch coming from Oberholzer. Hard hit ground ball, and Moreland a couple steps toward third, so no, I better not do that. And Cedeno fires to first. Elvis is out. Moreland stays at second. 2 outs for Leonis Martin.
Whoops, I better get back. Fortunately, he had a lot of distance between him and Cedeno.
We say if the ball's to your left, you can go. And then Mitch had to take 2 steps for it to be to his left. And you figure that's not a good idea. Leonis tripled into the right field corner last time up. 1 out of 2. Rip and a miss. The big sweeping breaking ball from Oberholzer. Martin coming into play tonight, 5th in the American League with a .355 home batting average. He has been a terror in these parts. Foul tips that one into the glove of Jason Castro, and it's no balls and 2 strikes. Oberholzer sets. And the 0-2 pitch coming. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Martin, 8 out of 24 in this homestand. This is the 7th game of the Ranger 9-game homestand. One more tomorrow night, then Saturday or Sunday afternoon. That'll do it. Ground ball up the middle into center field, a base hit. Moreland around third and score. And Leonis Martin adds an RBI single to his tally. It's now 10-0 Texas.
It's been a while since the Rangers had one of these. Nice to watch, nice to announce. Feels good in the dugout. Fans like it. Relievers like it. Batting averages like it.
Saw that graphic last time the Rangers had 10 or more runs way back in May against the Detroit Tigers. An 11-8 game, and but since then it has been a struggle offensively. But maybe this is starting to turn things around. Here's Ian Kinsler for his 4th at bat of the night. He takes a strike. Ian walked the first 3 at bats, all those against Lucas Harrell. Ian has scored a couple of runs. You see the 3 walks tonight, the 10th time that Kinsler has done that in one game in his career. Changeup floats in, and it's 0-2. Rangers now 10 runs on 7 hits tonight. Houston, no runs on 4 hits. They've committed 1 error, and that error led directly to a couple of 4th-inning runs. Oberholzer, a check of first. 0-2 pitch, and Ian able to check his swing in time. It's a ball and 2 strikes. Astros not holding Leonis Martin at first, and he will just stay there. Once the team that's behind stops holding the runners on first base, that's a signal that it's time to stop trying to steal when that happens too. One of those unwritten things about baseball. Drive to right center field off the bat of Kinsler. Going back, Martinez reaches up and pulls it in. Nice running catch by J.D. Martinez. Taking extra bases away from Ian Kinsler. Rangers put another tally on the board. A run on 2 hits, they lead 1. We're going to the 6th. 10-0 Texas on TXA 21. Texas Rangers baseball on TXA 21 is sponsored by your Texas Ford dealer. Visit your Texas Ford dealer and drive the best-selling trucks for 36 straight years. Ford is the best in Texas. A large crowd on hand here tonight watching the Rangers break out offensively, and they've been waiting for a while to do this. Almost 2 months now. And Nick Tepish has been the benefactor, one of those, and I should say the beneficiary. Jose Altuve for his third at bat. He is 1 out of 2, a single in the first inning. Softly hit into left field. That's going to drop for a base hit. And Altuve, with his second safety, is aboard to start off the 6th inning. Well, Altuve is 2 for 3 tonight. 5 hits total for the Astros against Tepish. Red Wallace has struck out both times that he has faced the Ranger right-hander tonight. Nick, 9 strikeouts in the first 4 innings. Did not have a strikeout last inning. Sinker dives outside. It's 1 ball, no strikes.
Wallace has seen a pretty steady diet of breaking balls. He hasn't really come close to hitting any of them yet. Pulled a couple of them foul.
Catches the outside corner, off-speed pitch. 1-1 to Wallace. Red hitting 167. Tepish back to the plate. And it's a bit low. It's 2-1. Tepish now approaching the 90 pitch mark here in inning number 6. He could use a double play like he had to end the 5th inning. Help him significantly about this juncture in the game. Chopper foul. It's 2-2 to Wallace. Red Wallace in his second tour of duty this year with the Astros. He was on the opening day roster, got sent out, and recalled about 2 weeks ago. Takes that pitch low, and the count has gone full now to him. Tepish, who has not walked a man tonight, one of the very few 3-ball counts that he's had. Altuve, the runner at first base. And Tepish with the payoff pitch. Lost him. Not sure what that was all about. A 3-2 breaking ball with a 10-0 lead.
Yeah, looked like a changeup. Just threw him several changeups in that at bat. Couldn't locate it for a strike, though.
So a base hit and a walk. Nobody out. Jason Castro doubled his last time up there. Took the ball deep into the left center field alley and short hop the wall. Castro 1 for 2 tonight. Ross Wolf, right-hander, getting ready to begin his loosening session. First pitch to Castro. There's strike 1. Castro, a .264 hitter. He has been one of the constants in the middle of that order. Tepish back to the plate. Smacked into right field, a base hit. Altuve being waved home. Throw comes into second, and the Astros are on the board as Castro drives in his 28th run of the year. It's now a 10-1 Ranger lead. Mike Maddox going out to the mound.
A couple of good at-bats for Castro. Castro, as we talked about, one of their building blocks for the future, has a double to left center, and he rips this ball down the right field line. Nelly cuts it off before it could get to the wall and be a double. And 2 well-stroked balls for Castro.
So a couple of hits, a very big walk here in this inning, and they created a few problems for Mike Maddox's young right-hander, Nick Tepesch. Tepesch now has runners at first and third, a run across, and Chris Carter is coming to the plate. Carter has struck out both times that he has faced Tepesch tonight. Time for the Ranger right-hander to regroup a little bit. Shutout's gone, the potential shutout. Now you just need to get a couple of outs here very quickly. Out of play. It is 0-1. Carter, as we showed you graphically before, the league leader in strikeouts. He's added 2 more to his total here tonight. It's way outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. And Wallace at third, Castro at first. Chopper foul at home plate. It is 1-2. Carter came in with 117. He was 12 more than Mike Napoli. He's added 2 more to that, so 119. And Tepesch trying to make that an even 120. High and away, 2-2. The set and the pitch. Up the ladder goes Beltre. He can't quite get it. It's into the corner. Wallace scores. Castro being waved around. Into second with a 2-run double is Chris Carter. It's a 10-3 Ranger lead as Carter got a hanger out over the plate and ripped it into the left field corner.
Well, unfortunately, the statistics we've showed are pretty much the same. That the third time through the lineup, the Astros are getting to Tepesch. To the uneducated eye, as far as pitching goes, Buzz, it looks to me like his slider has flattened out. Is that because his elbow is a little bit lower that causes that slider to flatten out like that?
Running out of gas. What happened? You know, the fastball goes high and not with as much velocity, and the slider gets very flat. And Nick is finished for the evening. Ross Wolf is coming on. 3 runs across with nobody out here in the 6th inning. So Wolf will be the new pitcher. We will take a timeout. Be right back after this on TXA 21.
And welcome back to the ballpark in Arlington, where the Rangers are holding on to a 10-3 lead. I want to tell you about a special day at the ballpark tomorrow. The game is in honor of all the survivors down in West Texas. The players are going to be wearing these jerseys. with a special Support West patch on it. Now, they're having a raffle, and they're selling raffle tickets tonight and tomorrow during the game. The winner gets one of these game-worn jerseys, and the folks in West get the benefit of your dollar donations. There's also plenty of activities before the game. 6 o'clock game, plenty of good seats still available. Dial 972 Rangers or go to TexasRangers.com. Buzz?
All right, Joel, yeah, great cause. And well, you get on top of that and put your bid in for those jerseys. Ross Wolf has come out of the bullpen now with Carter at second base. Nobody out. 3 runs across here in the 6th inning. The numbers on Ross Wolf is the 11th outing of the year for the Rangers. Wolf on, the first hitter he will face, Carlos Pena. Pena struck out both times, and he faced Tepish tonight. The first pitch is high and away for ball 1. With a single by Altuve, a little looper to left field on the first pitch of the 6th inning, was followed by a bad walk to Brett Wallace. And then Jason Castro and Chris Carter hit ropes, one to right and one to left. And there's a rope to left by Carlos Pena. Stopping at third is Chris Carter. Well, the hit parade continues for the Astros here in the 6th inning. Runners at the corner, still nobody out. J.D. Martinez coming up.
A lot of pitches this inning in the heart of the plate. Belt high and out over the plate. Altuve blooped one in. He hit one off the end of the bat. Then the walk. And since then, 3 straight ropes. A ground ball to shortstop.
Martinez takes strike 1. Yeah, that'd be good.
Try to run for 2 outs. Stop the bleeding right here.
Martinez doubled his last time up. He is 1 for 2 tonight. And he's going to hit this one toward the corner. Murphy over to cut it off. In to score is Carter. Stopping at second. The throw behind him is Carlos Pena. And it's another run as Carter scores 10-4.
David was not even thinking about Pena. He just assumed Pena was going to third. Oh, there's the ultimate hanging curveball. You can't not hit those pitches.
Well, that closes the book on Nick Tepish tonight. 5 innings plus 4 hitters here in the 6th inning. 7 hits, 4 runs. They're all earned. 1 walk, 9 strikeouts. And here's Brandon Barnes. Ball 1 is outside.
Yeah, that 6th inning just turned what looked like a really nice outing into a lot of strikeouts and a bad outing. 5 innings, 4 runs.
Took all the shine off it, that's for sure.
You know, when you get 10 runs, I'm kind of there with you, Buzz, that you'd like to see your pitcher go 7 innings.
There's the first out of the inning as Barnes lines 1 to center.
It really looked like Nick just ran out of gas in the 6th inning.
Yeah, I agree with you. I certainly, you know, and as much as we've talked about, and all the folks in the media have talked about that 3rd time through, that gets to the pitchers too. I mean, guys start thinking about it, and Nick is young enough to have that really play a mind game with him. He'll have to get over that, and maybe get the legs in a little better shape so that he can go further.
Well, the good thing is, through 5 innings, that was some really nice stuff that he featured.
Sure was.
His fastball was sinking at as high as 94 miles an hour. Sharp slide cutter, good curveball, a few good changeups. And just lost it and ran out of gas in the 6th. But until that time, that's about as good as he can throw.
0-1 the count to Matt Dominguez. Runners at first and second, 1 out for the Astros. And strike 2 is delivered by Ross Wolf. Wolf came on to give up a single to Pena, an RBI single to J.D. Martinez. Now Pena at second base, Martinez at first. 0-2 the count to Dominguez. Little looper right back to him. The double play is completed with Kinsler covering the bag. An unorthodox double play, but a double play nonetheless. Side retire, but the Astros come up with 4 runs. They had 5 hits, and they lead 1. Bottom of the 6th coming up. It's the Rangers 10, the Astros 4 on TXA 21. By Sonic. Tonight's jackpot is worth $2,600 and dinner for 2 at Sonic Drive-In. Tonight, the Rangers are hitting for Lucretia Frederick from Coppell. And if a Ranger hits a grand slam during the inning, Lucretia Frederick from Coppell will win $25,000. You can register at any participating Sonic restaurant. Now the Astros come roaring back to almost have the lead. It's still 10-4 Rangers. David Murphy leading things off against Brett Oberholzer. And first ball swinging, he pops one foul. Over to take a look is Castro behind the plate, but that's 8 rows back. And the count is 0-1. Murphy tonight 1 for 2. Had a 2-run home run in the first inning. Walked and scored in the second. And then grounded into a double play in the 4th. Oberholzer starting his 2nd full inning of work. And Murph fouls it away. It's 0-2. Murph hitting at .223. Now has 10 home runs and 30 RBI for the year. Murph asked for time, and it's granted. I'm tired of waiting for Oberholzer. Up the middle, right between the wickets. But right there is the shortstop, Cedeno.
Putting the shift down right there and taking a base hit away from David. Just assumed that was a base hit till you look up and saw the shortstop right there. Got to buy the pitcher.
Oberholzer was thinking that might have been a eulogy coming at him. Wow.
That was almost a game changer.
Well, Murphy, a very hard out to start things off. Now here's Nelly Cruz, who is 1 for 3. Takes a strike. Cruz, the grand slam home run in the second. After striking out in the first. Then in the 4th, he had a pop-up that Brett Wallace, the first baseman, just completely dropped. And that was followed by Adrian Beltre's 2-run blast. And Nelly hitting at an even .270. Oberholzer back to the plate. Fires a strike. It's 1-2. Oberholzer last year pitched both AA and AAA in the Houston organization. There's a drive to left field. Carter going over and back, reaches out and makes the catch. And Nelly hit a rocket, and Carter able to flag it down for out number 2. Well, folks, on Tuesday, that's the 23rd of July, and the Rangers take on the Yankees. The first 30,000 fans will take home a drawstring backpack, courtesy of MLB Network. Great seats are still available. Just go to TexasRangers.com or call 972-RANGERS for tickets. 2 outs, Adrian Beltre, 1 for 2. Down on the count now, 0-1. Beltre a walk in the first, a pop out in the second. In his 17th home run of the year in the 4th inning. Inside, 1 ball and 1 strike. Oberholzer reading the signs. 1-1 pitch. That's a base hit to left field. Beltre, his second hit of the evening. A 2-out single puts him aboard for A.J. Pierzynski. Adrian, a 3-hit night last night. A pair of them tonight. As the weather heated up, so did Adrian. It looks like he's going to stay hot for a while. Here's A.J., who is 0 for 3 this evening. He is grounded out, popped out, and struck out. Pierzynski still trying to get things turned around a bit offensively for himself. Check swing, and that got Pierzynski.
Almost swung at it.
He did. I thought that's what Jim Joyce, the home plate umpire, was pointing at initially, but he was pointing down to first base.
I think he stopped his swing just in time. Started it. But stopped it just in time.
Ron Washington out there to check on Pierzynski, make sure he's all right. And yeah, it's got me on the left wrist. Kevin Harmon out there along with Dave Anderson, the first base coach. AJ kind of a wry smile. Apparently Wash asked him if he was okay. Do I look okay?
No, it hurts.
No? Yeah. So first and second now with 2 away. And Lance Berkman will come up for his 4th at bat. Lance 0 for 3. Pop out, ground out, strikeout tonight. Beltre at second, Pierzynski at first. And up the middle, but right there is Altuve, the second baseman. They go to second for the 4th, just ahead of the sliding Pierzynski. Well, the shift took away a couple of potential hits in the inning. Rangers strand 2 on a hit and a hit batter. On to the 7th we go. Rangers 10, Astros 4, TXA 21. of the game is Honda of Paris. A beautiful evening out here at Rangers Ballpark in Arlington. Temperature in the upper 80s. Rangers started off very hot, haven't cooled off much, and Astros started off cold. They caught fire in the 6th. They still trail 10-4. Ronnie Cedeno, the number 9 man in the order, will start things off against Ross Wolf. Wolf came on to get the final 3 outs of the 6th inning. Cedeno has struck out and grounded into a double play tonight. 1 ball, no strikes. Mentioned Cedeno, one of the veteran players that came over to help the Astros in their rebuilding process. He's moved around a lot. He came up originally with the Cubs back in 2005. Also spent time in Pittsburgh and with the Mets, also with the Cardinals. Here's a strike. It's 2-1. Wolf back to the plate. Fastball fouled back. 2-2.
Like the A's have beaten Kansas City. So the Rangers need to win tonight to stay within half a game. Even in the loss column, A's have played 1 more game.
Moreland playing off the line. A step to his right. Flags down that hot shot off the bat of Ronnie Cedeno. 1 out.
That's having a defensive guy in the right place, playing way off the line. See more extreme infield defenses, shifts now than ever before. Every team analyzing statistics, playing the percentages. Occasionally, you go back years and years, you saw a shift. First one I guess people talked about was the shift that Lou Boudreau put on for Ted Williams.
Yeah.
And occasionally a big power hitter, pull hitter would have a shift. But now you see a shift every inning for probably 4 or 5 different batters in every lineup to some degree. More and more data gives you more and more confidence that you're playing the percentages by using that kind of shift. Didn't used to have all that statistical analysis available back then.
You would think with all that numbers crunching and shifting and things that the batting average would go down. I don't think it's gone down much, has it?
No, I guess when you hit it, you can't put anyone over the fence.
Altuve pops one up. There's a defense for that if you can get to it. Oh, just out of reach of A.J. Brzezinski, who kind of had a little run-in with the corner of the photographer bay down there.
I'd love to see a statistic come up that would be possible to quantify whether those kind of shifts actually pay dividends. The other one I'd love to know is late in the game, by having the first baseman and the third baseman right on the line and take away a double down the line, does that end up giving more runs or less runs? Obviously everyone thinks it's less runs or they wouldn't keep doing it.
Sure.
The purpose behind it is a ground ball down the line is a double, ground ball in the hole is a single. So you play down the line so it's not a double and you give up a single. So by shifting you may have turned an out into a single, but you haven't turned a ball down the line into a double. You've taken that away. The other thing you see late in the game is the outfielders playing way back near the warning track in a 1-run game so that a double can't go over your head.
No, there's a pretty well defensed shot off the bat of Altuve right there. Ian Kinsler, who was shading just a little bit up the middle. That's out number 2.
But I think the defensive statistics are the toughest ones to get a grasp on. Because to do that, you'd have to say, well, if he was playing over here, he would have made the play. But you don't really know for sure. You know, the guy's playing up the middle. Okay, a ball's hit to where you think he would have been. And then he would have made the play. It's tough. It's tough to do it and feel 100% sure that what you have is totally accurate. At least to me it is.
Yeah, well, you know, and we've talked about this a little bit before. All statistics tell you are what happened in the past. They're based on what happened in the past. I mean, that's what they analyze. That's no guarantee that it's going to happen the same way in the future. Even if you have all the parameters identical to what you had set up in the past, there may be something you hadn't figured on that's going to change it.
Yeah, I guess the one thing that changes it the most is whether the pitcher throws the ball where
Exactly.
you think he's going to throw it to get the ball hit in the direction you think it's going to go.
That's right.
And I think the people that design those kind of defenses would say, well, obviously it's not going to work every time. We're playing the percentages. And if we can increase our percentages of getting it out by 1%, then it's worth doing it. I just don't know how you show whether you've done that or not.
Yeah. You say overall, I don't see where batting averages have gone down that much, or ERAs have gone down that much either.
Yeah.
3-1 is the count to Brett Wallace. Bases empty, 2 outs. Pitch to him, and that's a strike. The count is now full. Well, Wallace tonight struck out twice and walked. He walked in that 4-run 6th inning. That was against Nick Tepish at the time. Payoff pitch. In the air to left field. Murphy retreating. Still going back. He's at the wall and makes the catch. Backing into the screen in front of the out-of-town scoreboard. Side retired, 3 up and 3 down with some pretty good defense. Stretch time at Rangers Ballpark in Arlington. 10-4. The Rangers on top. And now let's join Chuck Morgan as he asked the crowd to stand and honor America with God Bless America.
The men and women for armed services, both at home and around the world. Tonight we invite you to join in singing God Bless America with Glenn Singer of California, who's traveling and singing at ballparks across America.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans, white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
On TXA 21 is sponsored by Freedom Chevrolet. the Rangers. 10 runs on 8 hits. Benefit of 6 walks from the starter Lucas Harrell, and they made the most of that, putting 10 runs on the board by the 5th inning. Brett Oberholzer firing to Mitch Moreland. It is strike 1.
We're talking, Buzz, about that prevent defense, playing the outfielders deep with a 1-run lead late in the ball game. There's a perfect example of that last night with Joe Nathan pitching. The ball that Seager hit to right field to lead off the 9th inning that Nelly Cruz caught at the warning track. Now, he was playing much deeper than he normally plays. The ball was hit over his head near the wall, and he made an easy catch. So if you're going to prove that that defense prevents runs, do you count that as an example that it worked? Because how can you say if he was in his normal position, he wouldn't have caught it anyway?
I don't know.
Now, it would have been a tougher catch,
right,
but it was catchable. And here's the play. You can see how deep Nelly's playing way out in right field. And here's the ball hit near the wall in right field. He goes back at the wall and makes an easy catch.
Yeah.
Now, is that an example of that defense working when it wouldn't have worked? Did that prevent a double? I don't know. If Nelly's playing shallower, he still could have caught it, but it would have been a better catch.
Yeah.
So I don't know how you prove to someone that that defense works.
He wouldn't have been able to get back there and camp underneath.
No.
Had he been playing more shallow. Yeah. No, that's a good point. I don't know. I can just tell you that what I've always heard about that is don't let the ball be hit over your head and stay in the ballpark.
Yeah.
Anything that's in the ballpark, you got to catch.
And that makes sense. And so therefore, it makes sense to play deeper so it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
I mean, it's logical to do that. I just don't know how you prove that it works, other than I guess it's logical to do it, and so you do it. They've been doing it forever.
Yeah, because Casey Stengel said it would work, and that's why.
I just know when my fantasy football team plays a prevent defense, they give up a whole bunch of points.
Yeah, prevent you
late
from
in the
winning.
4th quarter. Takes those extra points away.
You know what they say, that prevent defense prevents you from winning? 1-1 pitch.
I don't know what the correlation is between a prevent defense in football and one in baseball.
Well, that's same idea, though.
Something to talk about.
Yeah, same idea. Preventing the big strike, preventing the big extra base hit if you can, and preventing the home run pass, if you will. 1-2, the count to Elvis. Andrews 1 for 3 tonight. Slow tapper down the third base line, hugging the line, but veering off into foul territory as he got to the bag. 1-2 as Elvis comes back to the
How
plate.
about Kelly Donaldson down in our truck? We start talking about that, and bang. Kyle Seager's ball goes to right field like 10 seconds later.
We'll have to think of something that is a little more,
you just can't
arcane that we can come up with.
You can't take that for granted when you see that happen.
Yeah, you're right.
That was pretty impressive.
Oberholzer getting set for the 1-2 pitch. Left-hander goes into the wind, and it's on the way. Call strike 3. And Elvis knew it. He heads back to the Ranger dugout. That's out number 2, and it brings up Leonis Martin. The Fantasy All-Star voting isn't quite over yet. You thought it was, but it's not. From Saturday, July 6th through Thursday, July 11th, you can vote for the final player for each league's roster. Check TexasRangers.com tomorrow to see who made the team and vote for who should get the final spot on each league's roster. Still got some work to do, baseball fans. The strike to Leonis. Martin tonight 2 for 3. Tripled and scored in the 4th. And an RBI single in the 5th inning. Leonis now with 16 runs driven in this season. And that batting average now creeping back up toward the 300 mark. It's at 297. As he faces Oberholzer here in the 7th inning. 0-1 pitch. Count evens and a ball and a strike. Travis Blackley, the veteran left-hander out there loosening in the Astros bullpen. 1-1. Now 1-2. Martin now 9 for 25. So 360 mark on this homestand. He's trying to add more to it here. Inside and low, the count is even at 2-2. Well, the onus should go back over the last couple of months of play. As a matter of fact, he's been better than a 300 hitter. And he shoots one to left field. Chris Carter started and has to retreat a few steps back to his right. And that'll do it. The Rangers down in order for the first time tonight against the Astros. We're going to the 8th inning here in Arlington. The Rangers 10, the Astros 4 on TXA 21. Tonight, Delly Cruz in the second inning, his second grand slam of the year. Broke things open 6-0 at that time. The Rangers have gone on to a 10-4 lead. Get a great deal during the really big spring event. Now it's your Honda dealer. It's a really big deal for the Rangers. Delly Cruz with his 21st home run of the year. A grand salami. Ross Wolf back to the hill, and he is facing Jason Castro to start things off. It'd be Castro, Carter, and Pena. Castro tonight is 2 for 3 with an RBI. He takes the pitch just a little bit low. 2-0 the count. Castro an RBI single in the 6th inning, and a double in the 4th inning. That was stranded at second base. Wolf fires a strike. It's 2-1.
You know, Buzz, because there's a couple people watching that might be interested in this kind of a conversation, I'm going to take it a step further, like we were talking between innings. We're talking about playing the outfield deep to prevent a ball being hit over the outfielder's head in a strategic situation late in the game, the no double situation. Well, you don't want to give up a ball over your head. It makes sense to play deeper. Probably not too important whether or not you can prove that it works or not. It's logical. So is that a similar thing as to playing the infield in to cut off a run? You can't really prove, I don't think, that how many runs you've saved, other than you got a run you don't want to give up. It makes sense to play the infield in so a ground ball can't score the guy.
Right.
Might not be necessary to prove it, other than it's a logical way to do it.
Line drive to right off the bat of Castro, and he's now 3 out of 4 as his single starts the 8th inning for Houston.
And watching right now are probably 10 or 15 people way smarter than we are that are barking out answers to those questions. I wish they were here so I could get their answers.
Chris Carter struck out his first 2 times up, and then last time had a 2-run double. He also came around to score. He was the last hitter that Nick Tepesh faced in this evening's ball game. Carter 1 for 3, the batting mark of .229 as he faces Ross Wolf. Castro at first, nobody out. Outside, 2-0. A.J. Brzezinski trying to pump up Ross Wolf a little bit. And ball 3 misses low and away. Ross Wolf about ready to throw his 35th pitch of the night. And you don't want to start walking, folks. Saw what happened when Nick Tepesh walked a hitter in the 6th inning. It all kind of fell apart. There's a strike, 3-1.
Yeah, I think in a perfect world, Ron Washington would love to see Ross Wolf pitch 4 innings today. He doesn't even have to use his bullpen. Give them a full night off. The rest of the bullpen.
And ball 4 is low. A single, now a walk. There are 2 on with nobody out. Carlos Pena is coming to the plate. And Mike Maddox going out to the mound as Jason Frazier, the right-hander, starts to loosen and loosen in a hurry.
I guess when a game is 10-0 and you're the manager, you're kind of counting on not having to use key guys in your bullpen. You never know how those games are going to turn out. Maybe Ross throws 1 sinker right here. One of the times Mike went out to the mound, the next couple of pitches resulted in a double play to get out of an inning.
Yeah, that was the 5th inning to Nick Tepesh.
To Nick Tepesh. Well, maybe it'll work right here for Ross. 1 sinker, get a double play, and bang, get out of the inning and finish the 9th.
Well, Mike has put his order in, so you need that double play. Now, you can get 1 out before you want to, before you get the double play if you want.
Be all right.
Fine. Well, Carlos Pena, a pretty good candidate if you can get him to hit the ball on the ground somewhere. Doesn't run real well, but he doesn't hit a lot of ground balls either. He's mostly fly ball type of hitter. Astros, as a team, have only grounded into 55 double plays. And that's in contrast to the Rangers, who have grounded into 71. Pena, a base hit in 3 trips tonight. And the first pitch is inside. It's ball 1. Outfield just about straight away. Maybe a step around to the right against Pena. The infield, though, more of a shift against the left-handed hitting Carlos Pena. Wolf with a 1-0. Moreland has it. He goes to second. They get the lead. No, it's off the slide of Chris Carter out into left field. That will allow Castro to come on down the line and score. And everybody else is safe. Now, probably a chance you don't need to take unless it's a sure thing. And Mitch Moreland just had the throw tail back into the sliding Chris Carter.
Yeah, the closer Carter gets to second, the less angle that Mitch has. Carter puts his hands up as he slides, and the ball hits his right hand. Generally, you've got a clear path right here with that throw until Carter's hand went up and accidentally hit the ball. But you're right, Buzz. The safe out would have been to go to first base, tag first base, and make sure you get 1 out.
Now runners at first and second are run across, and J.D. Martinez takes strike 1. Martinez tonight is 2 for 3. A single and a double and RBI. Well, it's a 10-5 Ranger lead. Each ball club now with an error in the game. Wolf back to the plate. Off the fist. Moreland goes to second this time. Back to Wolf covering. They get the 3-6-1 double play.
That's better.
On to third goes Carter, but he's there with 2 outs now.
Well, we called a double play after Mike Mattis went out. We were just a little bit late on it.
Well done on all 3 parts of that twin killing. Mitch gave Elvis an easy throw to handle, and Ross Wolf got over there in plenty of time to act like a first baseman. So 2 gone, and Brandon Barnes, who is 0 for 3, steps in. Carter, the runner at third. First pitch to Barnes, a rip and a foul ball. It's 0-1. Boy, Jay's taking a beating tonight. Got hit on that left wrist by a pitch. A normal number of foul tips all over the place. Barnes, as you can see, a .249 hitter as he faces Wolf here in the 8th inning. In the air to right field, Nelly Cruz toward the gap a bit, has it measured, and that will do it. You know, the Astros come up with a run on 1 hit. There was an error, and 1 man left. Bottom of the 8th coming up. Rangers 10, Astros 5. DXA 21. Reliant, bring the energy. Brought the energy tonight. 3 home runs, a grand slam by Cruz, a 2-run blast by Beltre, and a 2-run blast by Murphy. Counted for 8 of the 10 runs tonight. And up and down the order, guys getting on base, driving in runs, and scoring runs. Well, as we head to the bottom of the 8th inning, Travis Blackley, the Australian left-hander, on now to face the Rangers and Ian Kinsler.
It's pretty easy to see what has plagued Blackley this year. 15 walks in 26 innings and 7 home runs. A long ball and too many bases on balls.
First pitch to Ian Kinsler is low and outside for ball 1. Ian, 3 walks and a fly ball to deep right center field. So 0 for 1 officially, but with 2 runs scored. Blackley back to the plate. And it's 2-0. Kinsler currently hitting at .280. Blackley deals. And it's chopped foul, 2-1. Now, Brett Oberholzer tonight, 3 1/3 innings in relief. We have a total of 3 hits One run, it was earned, and didn't walk anybody. He did hit a batter, though, and he had 2 strikeouts. Off the end of the bat, shortstop Cedeno throwing across his body, and Wallace can't come up with a short hop. Kinzer will be safe, and what no doubt will be an infield single for Ian.
Nice try by Cedeno. He got rid of that ball quickly. Needed a little more on it to get it there in the air. Wallace tried to scoop it out of the dirt. If he did, they would have made the out. As it was, Wallace wasn't quite able to scoop it. Good try by Cedeno.
Takes a lot of arm strength to make throw when your body's going toward third base line.
Sure does.
So, the 9th base hit of the night for the Rangers. They are still being out hit by the Astros 10-9. Here's David Murphy. Well, that fastball just tied him up like a Sunday rib roast. Good move. 0-1 the count. Now Wallace going to go over and hold first base against Kinsler. You get it down to a 5-run game, and that brings the running game back into potential play. A foul ball off the bat of Murph. It's 0-2.
I'm going to go down after the game and see if Wanda won't cook us a rib roast on Sunday.
Go. Good idea. I'm sure if you put in the order, you'll get something done.
We might get it.
Yeah. I put it in order like that, I get a hot dog.
Do you like rib roast? You take it if she cooks it?
Yeah. 0-2. Murphy waiting, and Blackley to the plate. Fouled off. Blackley, a 30-year-old from Melbourne, Australia. He has been around. Matter of fact, Blackley got his first major league win against the Rangers back in 2004 when he came up with the Seattle Mariners. But the time with Seattle, also with San Francisco and Oakland. And he goes first base way to drive Kinsler back. Blackley also pitched a year over in Korea in 2011. He is well traveled. His passport has been stamped in a lot of different nations. 0-2 to Murphy. Kinsler now not being held on as Wallace goes back behind him. Check swing. The ball gets away from Castro all the way to the backstop. So down to second goes Ian Kinsler on the wild pitch. Blackley uncorks a wild one that Castro tried to block, and looked like it just bounced up over him. Got him off the glove. He tried to pick it, and instead of just blocking it, Castro had the ball shoot up off the edge of the glove and by him to the backstop. 1-2 to Murphy. The big breaking ball hangs inside to even the count. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Again, stepping off his lead from second base. Again, the shift by the Astros. Now time is called. Jim Joyce pointing at the catcher, Jason Castro, said he was the one that called it. Don't blame the hitter. Going to look at the shift with Cedeno, the shortstop, right behind second base. 2-2 as Blackley sets. And fouled straight back by Murphy. Murph with a home run in the first, a 2-run blast. Since then, as you look at the spray chart of pitches, this will be the 7th pitch of this at bat. Since that home run in the first, Murphy has walked and scored and grounded out a couple of times. Blackley again with the 2-2. In the air to center field. Going back is Barnes. He has this one measured. Kinsler will tag at second and advance to third. Throw comes in to Cedeno, and David Murphy hits the ball deeply enough to allow Kinsler to get it to third base with one out for Nelson Cruz. One of those productive outs that get him around to 5-5s in the dugout. Cruz, as you can see, 1 for 4 tonight. That grand slam in the second inning. And we'll take you back there. This was off Lucas Harrell with the bases juiced in inning number 2. 412 feet to left center field for Nelson Cruz, his second grand slam of the season. Infield all the way in now with Cruz up there. And the first pitch in the dirt. This one smothered by Castro. Nelly doing a good job this year in these situations. 65% of the time he is getting that runner home.
Major league average is 50%.
Cruz facing a guy in Blackley that he's had good success against. 4 out of 9 in his career. Look, a rip of that changeup. Didn't quite get it. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. Cruz also has a double, and a couple of those hits have been for extra bases. You could say he has a walk, a couple of doubles in his 4 hits against Blackley. Kinsler down at third, stepping his lead off toward home plate as Blackley sets. And the pitch just off the inside corner. It is 2-1. Outfield around to the left for Cruz. Infield in as far as they dare. A guy like Cruz at the plate. A couple of steps short of all the way to the cut of the grass. That pitch way outside. And Jason Castro, a nice job to backhand. 3-1 to Nelly. Adrian Beltre waiting, so you pick your poison here. 3-1 to Cruz. Are you careful with him, knowing that Adrian is waiting? Blackley's pitch. Chopper foul. And the count has gone full. Didn't come with a fastball. A little cutter or breaking ball and tried to get it in on Cruz, and he did. Well located by Travis Blackley. A 3-2 with 1 out. Now time called. Blackley okays the sign. The left-hander's ready to go. Payoff pitch on the way. Loop to right field. Hard charging Martinez makes the catch. And he was so shallow after he made the catch, Kinsler couldn't go. So that is out number 2.
And now he's trying to make some contact with the 3-2 count. Did a good job. Hit the ball in the air. Got it to the outfield. Just didn't get it quite far enough. Tough pitch down and away.
Good shot there. You see where Ian was. He was tagging, and he was thinking about going, but Martinez only at 200 feet from home plate.
Not much you can do on that one. Most right fielders have plenty of arm to make that play.
No, 2 out. Now it's up to Adrian Beltre. They're not even going to mess with Adrian. Got A.J. Brzezinski in the on-deck circle. They're going to intentionally walk Beltre. Adrian 2 for 3 tonight already. And he's going to add an intentional pass to the unintentional one that he had back in the first inning and leave it up to A.J. to do something with 2 outs here in the 8th inning. The 4th wide one is issued to Adrian. Back in the 4th inning, Adrian Beltre came up with Nelly Cruz at first base and 2 outs. Oh, he hit a monster shot 3/4 of the way up the foul pole in left field. I think that thing is still swaying back and forth. The hole down there. Number 17 for Beltre. He is at first. Kinsler is at third. 2 outs. A.J. Brzezinski is at the plate. And A.J. 1 for 3 in his career against Travis Blackley. Again, the infield shift being deployed against the left-handed swinger Brzezinski. And ball 1 is high. A.J. hit by a pitch last time. Other than that, he has popped out, grounded out, and struck out. There's a look at that shift with Cedeno, the shortstop, a couple of steps on the first base side of second base. The 1-0 pitch. Grounded right into the teeth of the shift. Altuve, sidearm to first, and that'll do it. The Rangers get a hit, leave a couple. We are going to the 9th inning. Now up to the Rangers to close out the Astros. They have a 10-5 lead on TXA 21. Offering $7 tickets in the upper reserve seating section. Tickets are available at TexasRangers.com, or you can call 972-RANGERS, but hurry, they won't last very long. It's a celebration of July 7th. Papa John's is also offering their Rangers 7 promotion. You can get half-price pizzas all day long using their online discount code Rangers 7. Well, the 9th inning has arrived. Jason Frazier has come on to see if he can't close out the Astros. 10-5 Rangers, and there are the numbers for Frazier.
Yeah, good numbers. ERA's all the way down to 2.82. Well, more than a strikeout per inning.
1-1 the count to Matt Dominguez. Dominguez 1 for 3, had a single back in the 5th inning. That was sandwiched in between a fly out and a line out. Chopper to first, backing up Moreland. He made a tough play out of it. On to first with Frazier there. And he's got it. Boy, Mitch scared me to death. He was retreating like he was running away from a snake.
He's trying to get back as far as he can to get that hop rather than have to backhand a short hop. Knows he's got a strong arm. Knows Jason's going to be there, and they got it done. Whoops. Sure. Make it. Yeah, that's right. All's well that ends well.
Yeah, exactly. That's where I was going with that.
I'm with you.
Oh, 1 out. And we're going to have a pinch hitter for Ronnie Cedeno. Left-handed hitting Mark Krause is coming up. Krause, one of the newer Astros. Called up from AAA and up there to swing from the left side against Jason Frazier. Takes low for ball 1. Krause hitting .071, just 1 for 14. Frazier back to him. And that pitch is low. It's 2-0. Krause had his contract purchased from AAA Oklahoma City from the Red Hawks on the 21st of June. Takes a strike here. It's 2 balls and 1 strike. Got his first major league hit against the Cardinals on the 25th of June. Pinch hit double in the 9th inning. Former 2nd round pick of the Arizona Diamondbacks back in 2009. Krause fouls it away, and the count moves to 2-2. Jason Frazier, the 3rd pitcher employed tonight by Ron Washington. Nick Tepesch went the first 5 plus 4 hitters. Gave up 4 runs on 7 hits. Ross Wolf came in to go the next 3. Gave up 1 unearned run on 3 hits. And now Jason Frazier trying to shut the door. He has 1 out, a 2-ball, 2-strike count to Mark Krause. Frazier nods in agreement. The right-hander's ready. Tap foul. And we will try it again. Krause acquired last year by the Astros from the Diamondbacks. Just before the trade deadline. It was part of the exchange that sent Chris Johnson, 3rd baseman, over to Arizona. Frazier ready. Again, the 2-2. Got him on the fist this time. Moreland, a little easier play with Frazier covering. So Moreland and Frazier getting a little pitcher's fielding practice over there.
Well, Mitch is very good at that play, no matter which way he has to go. In, back, right, or left. He's got good hands. He's got a strong arm, and he's got an accurate flip throw. You can count on him making that play. Pretty agile for a big guy.
Yeah, and he's not afraid to make that overhand throw.
Not at all.
See a lot of first basemen aren't real sure of that. And it's a real tough play if they have to do anything other than underhand.
Yeah, he's very confident.
Yep. For the crowd of 44,232 standing, applauding the Rangers, and Jason Frazier trying to get him to close out this 10-5 Ranger lead. Jose Altuve will have his 5th at bat. He is 2 out of 4 tonight. And ball one is outside. Rangers with 44,000 plus on hand here tonight. That's about 4,000, 5,000 over what they are averaging this year. Ball two. Rangers second in the American League in average attendance. They're about 700 per game behind the New York Yankees. Rangers averaging just under 39,000 per game. Nick Tepley stands to be the winner if Jason Frazier can get this last out. 2-0 pitch, and it's 2-1. Crowd hanging around because there's a big fireworks show again tonight after the ball game. Last night's spectacular one went well into the evening. Fouled out of play, and it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. Frazier trying to have a 1-2-3 ninth inning. Send these folks happily into their post-game fireworks show. Rangers looking for their 50th win of the year. 2-2, got him swinging. A 1-2-3 inning for Jason Frazier, and the Rangers have won number 50. They are now 50 and 36. They keep pace with the Oakland A's, a half game off the lead in the American League West. If they beat the Houston Astros 10-5, the 6th time in 7 starts this year against Astros that the Rangers have come out on top.
Yeah, good pitch by Jason. A nice 1-2-3 ninth inning. Slammed the door shut. Astros made a little bit of noise in the 6th inning when they scored 4 times. But the Ranger bullpen closed it out late. The offense scored early. And the Rangers get a nice first win of this 3-game series against the Astros. They stay within a half a game of the Oakland A's.
Oh, Ian Kinsler, Elvis Andrews and company doing a good job tonight. Rangers using the long ball this evening. 3 home runs by Murphy, one by Beltre, and the grand slam by Cruz. Be back with more right after this on